York comes to talk. 77 WABC.
Coming up this season on The Real Housewives of ISIS.
It's only 3 days till the beheading, and I've got no idea what I'm going to wear.
Abdul seduced me online. He had me at free healthcare. So this is my 6th marriage. I've been widowed 5 times. 6 times.
Back on Bernie and Sid.
That's great.
On 77 WABC, that was the beginning of this parody that the BBC put out. Somebody in the BBC. It's called The Real Housewives of ISIS.
Funny. Especially for a guy like me who admittedly watches Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Orange County, New Jersey, and Atlanta on the Bravo channel and loves it.
Right, and do they not deserve their own show?
ISIS ladies?
ISIS,
absolutely.
I mean, come on, what the hell? They're housewives. They have everyday problems, just like you and like the ones on the Bravo channel.
Even bigger problems.
And this is how, by the way, this is how it ended. It was actually funny. Take a listen.
Coming up next week.
He won't stop talking about his 40 virgin. Why can't he be happy with me?
Ali bought me a new chain, which is 8 foot long. So I can almost get outside, which is great.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah, that's funny right there, man. Yeah. Now, listen, Sid Rosenberg, we have on the line with us right now is the brilliant woman. She is sort of, I guess, an activist, journalist, author. Her name is Brigitte Gabriel, and she speaks a lot on Muslim, American issues, et cetera, et cetera.
Anti-Islam stuff, a lot of that.
Well, not anti-Islam, anti-radicalism.
No, I think that, much like my friend Asra Nomani, who also practices Islam, she's obviously against the radical stuff, but even her own religion she's critical of because she says, quite frankly, it's a 7th century religion. And I think Brigitte feels the same way. I do.
Well, let's ask her.
Yeah.
Brigitte Gabriel, welcome to the Bernie and Sid Show on WABC. Good morning.
Well, thank you, Bernie and Sid. I'm delighted to be with you.
It's a pleasure.
By the way, I love the whole sitcom, the whole new shtick that the British are doing. Why can't we come up with some funny TV shows like this?
I know, right?
The whole English accent just makes it so fancy,
it does.
and so wonderful. I cannot wait to run it and watch the show on American television.
Makes it very soothing. But we're just talking about my friend Asra Nomani. She comes on the show as well, and she practices Islam, but she's very critical of the religion. She says, listen, it's a 7th century religion, the way they treat women, not even radical. She's talking about the regular religion. I could be wrong here, so correct me if I am, but I feel like you kind of feel the same way as Asra does. That outside radical, even the everyday religion is a bit backwards.
Islam needs to be reformed. There are a lot of Muslims right now who are saying, come on, it is time to bring Islam to the 21st century. I mean, look at Iran, for example. You've got right now in Iran, for the first time, over 30% of the whole culture are people under 30, and they are sick and tired of the mullahcracy. They have never experienced real life, real living, real modernization. They are sick and tired of the mullahs, and they are saying 70% of society, we are over it. We want to be modern. Yes, we are Muslims. We want to practice Islam, but let's modernize it. And you are seeing these types of voices rising. But unfortunately, it is the voices of the people like ISIS and Al-Qaeda who are making the very fancy television recruiting commercials, web design commercials, very sophisticated on the internet, and they are prying on people who are misguided, who are lost, or are basically going and getting in touch with the real Islam of the 7th century as it was practiced under Muhammad. And this is why we are seeing the problem we are seeing. And, by the way, God has a flat head because he always hits himself on the head saying, oi, can these people get it all together?
But what you said, Brigitte, Iran is a progressive country. I mean, the population is not the leadership. Yeah. And they want to join the 21st century, as you say. And it's a real internal struggle. I guess it's 50-50. Pakistan used to be that way, and they lost that battle, and they went way back into the 7th century. And now, similarly, the nation of Turkey is struggling that way as well. It's a Sunni country, yet you have ISIS bombing them. They don't want to bomb necessarily. They don't want to fight. It's complicated. They don't want to fight ISIS in Syria because they're Sunnis, apparently, something like that. But the ISIS the people are bombing the hell out of the Turks. What's going on in Turkey?
Well, Turkey is standing on a cliff, and Turkey has been struggling for the last 10 years. Actually, Turkey has been struggling ever since Erdogan came to power, because Erdogan is a devout Islamist who are basically wanting to bring Turkey back into Islamic rule, a very conservative Islamism.
Okay, so let me stop you.
Turkey was a very secular Islamic country
Yes,
under
but
Ataturk. Actually, it was Ataturk in 1924, less than 100 years ago, who ended the Islamic Caliphate or the Islamic State. Ataturk ended it, gave women rights to vote, gave women rights to an education, gave women rights to drive, to work out of the house, and forbid women to wear the hijab and forbid men from wearing a beard. Who would have thought that in less than 100 years, Turkey would go from that type of secularism into what we are seeing in Turkey right now?
And that's my question. So if he's such a radical Islamist and a Sunni at that, why is ISIS then bombing him? Why wouldn't they like him?
ISIS is bombing basically the moderate elements of Turkey. This is what they are revolting against. They hate him because of his close relationship with Russia, with the international world. Russia is playing a major role in the Middle East, and this is why ISIS is basically trying to exert its power and trying to make its name. And also, victory begets victory. What ISIS is doing with every successful operation that they pull off, it's basically telling the other devout Islamists who are following in this track of Islamism, saying, listen, Allah is blessing us because we are doing the right thing. Join us. We are always successful. Allah is protecting us. And this is why. This is actually a successful way to recruit those who want to be more adherent to the 7th century ideology. That's why they are gravitating. That's why they are doing what they're doing.
Brigitte Gabriel joining us right now on the Bernie and Sid show here late in the 9 o'clock hour. I got to tell you, your story is amazing, from your house being bombed as a little kid and living really in deplorable conditions for many, many, many years without any running water, without any heat, all that kind of thing. But the story that really moved me, being I am a Jew living in New York City, was that when the Islamic militia came to get you guys because you were Christians, and you actually tell the story how you were saved by the Israelis. The Israelis in Lebanon had the war, and the Israelis actually saved you. Now, you were taught as a child that the Israelis are bad and Jews are bad and blah, blah, blah. And here you say, wait a second, I saw these people treating Palestinian and Muslim gunmen, the actual enemy. The Israelis were helping them. That part of your story where you come to the realization that Israel is a friend, I thought was pretty moving.
Well, thank you. Well, actually, when the war started in Lebanon, my 9/11 happened to me in 1975 when radical Islamists blew up my home, bringing it down, burying me under the rubble, wounded as they shouted Allahu Akbar. I ended up in a hospital for 2.5 months, and when I would ask my parents, why did they do this to us, my father would tell me, because we are Christians. The Muslims want to kill us because they consider us infidels. So I ended up living in a bomb shelter for 7 years of my life, from the age of 10 till the age of 17, robbed of my youth. But from the time I was a 10-year-old growing up, while my own country forgot about us because the Islamists and the Palestinians were in complete control of the government at that time, and this is when we started seeing the rise of Islamic terrorism rising worldwide, funded by the Saudis, and the money flowing into these radical people. Basically, what they were trying to do in Lebanon is create a base from which to kill the Jews, drive all the Jews into the sea, using Lebanese democracy to basically topple Lebanese democracy. The world did not pay attention to what was happening to the Christians in Lebanon and what was taking place. Only Israel, the only country in the world who recognized what was transpiring in the Middle East with the rise of radicalism and Islamism rising, Israel came to save the Christians. Not only save the Christians, Israel would take the Christians into Israel, train them how to fight, because the Christians were the educated ones. And we learned very quickly, you can have all the degrees on the wall, your professional degree, your medical degree, your law degree, your accounting degree. None of that would do you any good when you are faced with an enemy bent on killing you in the name of Allah. Right. So Israel worked with the Christians to help the Christians take back their democracy.
So if you're a Jew living in the United States and you are disgusted with John Kerry and Barack Obama and allowing the UN to do this, are we not right for being angry as a Jew for trying to help out the Palestinians when in fact Israel is our friends?
Oh my gosh! I mean, it's unbelievable. Israel is only our ally in the Middle East. Israel is the only democratic nation in the Middle East, the only republic who is actually like the United States, who understands what's going on. And by the way, during the Lebanese war, they treated the Lebanese, their enemies. They treated the Palestinians. They treated the Muslims. They treated the Christians. And they are now doing the same thing with the Syrians. And where are the Syrians? Even Muslim Syrians, Sunni Syrians, where are they going to be treated? They are treated in Israel. They are treating in Itzfat Hospital and Rambam Hospital, in the exact same hospitals that 30 years ago Israel was treating the Lebanese wounded who are actually shelling Israel, but Israel took them in and treated them because of the humanity of the Israelis. And look, just remember when the earthquake happened in Iran a few years ago, about 10 years ago?
Sure.
The first country in the world, other than America, that offered aid to the Iranians to come save the Iranians was the state of Israel. And actually, Iran turned them down. And the Iranians could have saved many lives because Israel was the closest country to Iran that can offer the type of help that the Iranians needed. And the Iranians turned them down because of their hatred, their viciousness, and their venomous hatred towards the Jews, because they would much rather kill their own people than save the Jews. And then take the help of the Jews.
So how do you account Brigitte Gabriel, who is an author, activist, and journalist, a Lebanese Christian woman living in America now, and very articulate and opinionated, as you can tell, and spirited?
Yeah. By the way, can I add one thing?
What?
I am also the founder of Act for America, the largest national security grassroots organization in the United States, with 400,000 members and over 1,000 chapters nationwide. Act for America passed 43 bills in 22 states about national security to protect the country, and 11 federal bills. The last one was the JESTA bill that helped the families of 9/11. So if you are not familiar with Act for America, go to actforamerica.org and join us today. Sign up to get our emails and action alerts. We are now working on refugee bills in every state in the nation. We are working on national security bills, and we want to be able to reach you when the bill is produced in your state. Go sign up to get our emails, join a chapter, start a chapter. If there's no chapter near you, go to actforamerica.org and get involved.
Brigitte, listen, President Obama's on his way out, and during his administration, the past 2 terms, at one point, the ISIS people beheaded a bunch of Libyan Christians, and he said, when we were outraged, he told us to get off our high horse. Then, of course, just last month, just before the new year, he allowed that UN vote that Sid referenced before that basically screwed the hell out of Israel, and he had, his fingerprints were all over it, but he tried to hide out in Hawaii while it was going on. What accounts for that? What do you think is in Obama's heart that he takes these positions that have us scratching our head?
Listen, it was very clear from the time he took office that he was very influenced with the Islamic organization and pro-Palestinian organizations. I mean, look, ISNA, the Islamic Society of North America, as soon as he became president, they became advisors to President Obama about Middle East policy. It was actually the president of ISNA who wrote President Obama's speech, which he delivered in Egypt. Remember his first big speech to the Arabic world?
Apology tour, sure.
That's right.
So
what do you working with these groups who are pro-Palestinians vehemently into Israel, and they are basically telling him what to do with Middle East policy. That's why Obama comes up with things the way he comes up with things about Israel.
So he's a radical Islamic stooge, is what you're saying.
He is. I'm not sure if he's a Muslim, and I cannot speak about anybody's religion or what's in their heart. That's in the privacy of their home.
A stooge for the radical Islamists. Let me put it that way. Not that he is.
Absolutely. We not only have the fox watching the hen house, we have the fox inside the White House talking policy in the ear of the president. He is bosom buddies with CARE, ISNA, NATE, and all the Islamic organizations listed in the Muslim Brotherhood Project, which is the document about how Islamists are infiltrating the country.
Brigitte Gabriel, very opinionated, passionate. We love you. Author, activist, journalist, Act for America. We appreciate you appearing on the Bernie and Sid Show. Happy New Year. Thank you, Brigitte. We are back after this.